Thank you all for being here today. We know it's the end of day 2. There's been a lot of excitement and energy, so we're just so happy y'all are here for this presentation about the future of workplace learning. So today we're going to talk about how the nature of work is changing and the new training and development programs that'll be needed to keep pace with these changes, and how technology can be used to improve training and development programs and what benefits they offer. First, I want to tell you a little bit about Google Fiber, which is where we're all from, or you may have seen us at the G-Fiber Career Cafe over the last 2 days. We're an internet service provider, and we offer 1, 2, 5, and 8 gig speed internet, and we are available in select markets across the United States, including the city of Atlanta. So now I'm going to introduce these 2 incredible women next to me. So first, Kelli. Kelli has a passion for helping people learn new concepts to increase their depth of knowledge. She's active in employee resource groups, loves planning fun events to help people build meaningful connections. Kelli manages a group of technical writers that partner with cross-functional teams to create knowledge base and external help center articles for a wide variety of topics, ranging from market expansion to new product offerings to installations. Kelli helps teams document the past and prepare for the future. She's worn many hats over the past 20 years, such as IT manager for the city of Atlanta, content integration manager for an international learning management company, consultant, and business owner. Kelli has a bachelor's in computer science from Florida Tech and a master's degree in global business from Georgia Tech. Kelli resides in Atlanta with her husband and daughter. And Keiana. Keiana is an accomplished professional in the wireless and fiber industries with over 10 years of experience in operations, project management, and training. As a manager at Google Fiber, she has been instrumental in leading the transformation of training content for frontline employees. Keiana is passionate about using technology to drive innovation in non-tech spaces, and she's been part of teams that develop custom learning management systems, platforms, and construction management applications throughout her career. She has extensive experience in navigating the challenges of using technology in training and leading through change. Outside of work, Keiana enjoys spending time in the garden, caring for her 2 fur babies, Cooper and Ace, and cherishing moments with her family.
Awesome, thank you so much. And I just wanted to thank all of you for coming by and also just introduce Beth. So we had a G-Fiber Cafe where we did everything from taking a look at people's interviews, their resumes, conducting interviews, offering headshots, and just we're really here to help everyone just totally leverage the conference and also just receive feedback from companies such as G-Fiber and others that are like truly invested in everyone. And that's why we're here, to just really build those connections. And so thank you, Beth.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's get into it. So first, Kelli, what does training currently look like at Google Fiber?
Awesome. So my team collaborates with Keiana on the actual training. So I manage the knowledge base, and that's where we keep track of all of the internal processes and things that we use to make sure we have consistent customer experiences, that we're scaling, and things of that nature. And so we document everything from, that we talked about, from the expansion to the technical aspects, just to make sure if someone is starting a new project, they have everything that they need to kind of have a baseline of understanding.
Awesome.
Hello. Okay, so I manage the development team that is actually responsible for creating all of our training content. So that includes videos, e-learning, slide decks, and other modalities. So I started at Google Fiber in 2021, and during that time, we were still in this place where we transitioned from in-person learning to virtual learning due to the pandemic. And so what that looks like is a lot of slide decks. So we live in a place that I like to call Slide Deck City. And so right now, what we are trying to do is we're trying to move out of slide deck city and create more training that is going to meet our learners at their greatest need. And so, as Beth mentioned, we are responsible for creating content for our frontline teams. So that includes sales, customer service, and tech ops. So when you call in, any person that you talk to, a CSR agent, that is what we consider a frontline team. The people who go out into your home to install your internet, our technicians, we develop training content for them. And so right now, we do not have the luxury of being able to take them off the phones or take them away from a customer so they can take training or to even look up an article if they're at a place where they're stuck. And so we're trying to transition ourselves out of slide decks into more mobile-based learning. We're trying to create video content that is less than 60 seconds, max 90 seconds. We are living in a world of TikTok, right? So those quick bites, think of all the life hacks that you've learned off of TikTok and how you got that really quickly. So we have to create content that follows that format. So right now, we're just in that transitional period and trying to navigate exactly what that's going to look like for us. How many resources do we need to make that happen? And then what kind of skill set do we need to bring onto our team, and what kind of development tools do we actually need to use to actually bring that forth to our frontline crews?
Amazing. All right, Keiana, since you have the mic,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you our next question. Can you tell us a little bit about workplace trends that are happening right now that you're seeing in the learning and development space, especially when it has to do with technology? Are you planning on taking advantage of some of these? And what are some advantages and disadvantages?
Awesome. All right, so remote work is not going anywhere, right? I think a lot of us are very comfortable with working from home or at least having some type of hybrid schedule. And I think a lot of corporations, Google Fiber or G Fiber included, need to adapt to that. So what training is going to look like in the future, as I mentioned, it's going to be a lot of mobile-based training, one. It's going to be, we're going to be in a virtual world, right? So think about AR, VR. Also, the demographics of the workforce is changing. So you're seeing a lot of Gen Z coming into the workforce. They have a different way of learning as opposed to maybe like the baby boomer generations or Gen X. And so we need to be able to accommodate that. So you're going to see a lot more what we call gamification type training too in the workplace. Video is not going to go anywhere. I think it's, like I said, it's going to get a lot shorter because even though we're working remotely, we are actually more busier than we've ever been. And so that video needs to be short enough to where we can get the answer that we need and be able to move on with our day. I also see a lot of AR, VR coming into the training space. It exists in certain areas, like if you think about safety training, being able to conduct safety training, like life-saving training in a VR environment is the safest way to do it. A lot of construction companies are utilizing that. A lot of safety companies are utilizing that as well. But I think we're going to see it more in corporate spaces like Google Fiber. So the other question was, what pros and cons of that?
Yeah.
Right, so the pros of it is, one, it's going to be a lot cheaper. We just are not in the place where we can take people off of the phones or we can pull them away for their work for a 2-hour training, right? And so like time is money, that costs money to take people away from their job. And so, it's going to be a lot cheaper. It's going to be more accessible to our frontline employees. But also the cons of that is, in the instructional design world, you are not going to get a lot of people who have the skill set to do video development as well as curriculum design. And so the cons of that is just the skills gap that we're going to see and making sure that, one, we can upskill our teams to meet that need, but then also being able to convince people that maybe have a coding background, because JavaScript is actually used to develop e-learnings, to actually want to come work in instructional design, because I don't think that is an area that a lot of people think about. So like the cons are really going to be the resource gaps that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Kelli, same question. What are some trends that are happening, and what are some advantages and disadvantages of them?
As far as my team, the trends are really focusing on making sure people are really successful from the start. Meaning, like, if you receive a new job opportunity, like, what do you specifically need in order to be successful in that specific project and things of that nature. So in some cases, we have what's called like a little starter kit that gives you like additional context on the project, so that way you don't have to like hope to pencil in time with someone like, hey, I hope you have time to talk to me so I can get ramped up. And it just really allows you to kind of build that confidence internally and have the background information that you need in order to speak up in the meetings, in order to ask questions to clarify assumptions, because no matter what kind of technology you have, if you don't like clarify when and how to use it, you know, you could not be leveraging it to its full capability. And so just really looking at it from not being so text heavy, which all of us know, but we have a lot of projects and a lot of absolutely brilliant people, but making sure it's simple enough that people can digest it, because everyone's busy, they're stressed, they might, I mean, there's infinite things that can go on, but just understanding that it's okay to write something as simply as possible and then communicate it to everyone so that we have alignment is like day one type of things that we want to make sure that everyone has. So that way it's more of an inclusive conversation. It's not like someone's talking above you or below you, but they feel like it's an environment where they want to hear your feedback, they want to know your questions, and then they want to help like create solutions that make it easier for everyone, because at the end, you know, we all just really want to succeed.
Absolutely. You know what, speaking of that, what are some ways that you create learner confidence in this space too, to make sure you're not having frustrated folks who are calling in saying, oh no, what do I do now about my internet? Or like, I don't know that I want this job, I'm feeling really deflated.
Yeah, one thing I do amongst my team is we have what's called quick wins, and it's something that really, it may seem like something that is not as complicated, but it really helps reinforce those skills and gives them the confidence to kind of lead per se. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you have a quick win, you know, and even the perception of saying it's like a quick win and like, if you get this, the customer's gonna like absolutely love you. And just building that confidence and knowing that everyone on the team is really a leader in its sense. And then once you have those quick wins, you can have those stretch projects, and it really allows you to like, oh, I actually have a background in this, and maybe we can add this feature to enhance our customer experience. And then next thing you know, you've gone from the most simplest thing to quick wins to stretch projects, and people can really look at you and be like, wow, you're really bringing a lot to the table beyond just like writing an article. They're like, you know, you're really thoughtful and insightful, and you're considering your team and the resources and our customer experience. And so just really highlighting those and celebrating them, and even weekly, like, here's the quick wins, like the people that have done it, it really helps make people feel valued versus did you know, fix the bug or do the ticket. It's like, you know, what are some of your accomplishments of each week, and really talking through them as like a people leader, and then also, you know, sharing them across the org.
Absolutely. Keiana, tell me a little bit about learner confidence in your space.
Yeah, so I think Kelli brought up a really good point about like just getting those quick wins. And so when it comes to like creating training content, what I like to talk to my teams about is like giving our learners those dopamine hits, right? To keep them motivated and keep them going to complete the training. So it could be like getting a badge at the end of a course that will make you want to continue on to the next course in the series. If the assessment in the training is only 5 questions, and 5 very simple questions that they can answer, that makes them feel good about what they're doing and they can move forward. But then also on the other side of metrics, when we are able to tie our training to an actual metric or a goal and be able to show the learner how, once you complete this training, how it's going to improve your score, that improves their performance, that increases their pay, that increases their reviews at the end of the year. That's another way to like keep our learners motivated that yes, this training is valuable and it's going to help you out with your career. And so like we talk about getting those quick wins that Kelli mentioned, but also like working with your business partners to identify what those metrics are that's actually going to move the needle for your learner and for your employee. That's a good way to keep them motivated to even do training, and that also helps them motivate them to take those long trainings too, because they actually see the value in it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, since you have the mic, can you tell me a little bit about what do you see in the future of learning and development, especially when it pertains to technologies?
Yeah, so I touched earlier about mobile development. I think that's going to be like really big when it comes to training, being able to access it from your phone. We live on our phones now, and so like there's no reason for training to not be accessible in that manner. You don't really see it a lot right now. A lot of the platforms that we have, they're navigating into a mobile-based platform, like when we think about our learning management systems, but not all of them are mobile equipped. They're developing to that, and so I see more of that coming in the next 5 years. We're actually going to start deploying a system pretty soon, hopefully at the end of the year that is more mobile and it has some AI functionality to it as well. So you're going to see a lot more of that in our LMS systems. And those are typically developed by third-party developers, not necessarily by Google Fiber. I think also what you're going to see from the design standpoint is we're going to probably start bringing in more people that have a UI or a UX background, because when we talk about these quick wins and these short bursts of training, in order to take a complex process and to condense it down to something that can be digestible within 60 seconds, you have to have graphic design skills. You have to think about your learner. So UI, UX is going to be really important in the future, but then also having that foundation in graphic design. So understanding composition is going to be really important. Color theory, the elements of design, those are skills that I see that are lacking, but they're so critical when it comes to the future of learning.
Absolutely. Kelly, how about you? What are some trends you think are coming 5-10 years from now?
Just like leveraging our existing content and integrating them directly into those systems. So for example, if there's a problem with your router, like just having a little dashboard that says like, yes, there's a problem, but also giving you a quick little blurb of maybe unplug this and plug that back in. And that would allow the customers quick and easy way of not needing a background in network engineering or anything else, just to really solve those problems as quickly as possible. And since we have all those steps already documented, we already have mobile app teams and others, just really having that closer integration to make sure everyone feels like they can do it, because life is, there's plenty of things going on. We want everything to be as easy as possible and as easy to digest. So that's everything from like the way that the routers and things are connected, and making sure that we have like easy to follow images that says, like this plugs into this, and different colors and different things that allow learners of all different types, or people regardless of their language, I wouldn't say barriers, but different types of languages or even reading levels, to understand what they need to do in order to truly be successful.
Awesome. Learner experience has a lot to do with psychological safety as well. So what are ways that psychological safety is promoted in your workspace?
Well, amongst my team, we have a lot of, we call them like pop culture references. They're like, how would you explain it to like a 5 or a 10-year-old? And like really make it fun and engaging, because a lot of the work we do is very text heavy, very technical, but we come up with the most fun ways of just like really explaining something. Like for example, for like the Star Wars fans, like I had a picture of a mesh extender, and it was like, which one of these expands the Force? You know what I mean? And of course, that's like expanding the internet throughout the whole house. And it's just easy and quick ways to really help people connect with something like, yes, this will help me reach the dead spot in my home if I use a mesh extender in addition to the router. So simple ways to make sure that people are able to leverage technology in a way that's not daunting. And it just really helps build those connections and make everything easier. What do you think?
So I think it's really about meeting people where they're at and making them feel safe. We develop training content for 3 very distinct audiences, right? So we have sales, we have customer service, and we have our technical operations. And so you have a salesperson who is really good and extroverted and really good at talking to people. And then we have our technicians who really just want to go into the home, install what they need to install, and then leave. And so like we need to develop content that is tailored to each one of our audiences and making them feel good and confident. And then also, we don't really harp on or on failures. I was about to say we don't harp on successes. We don't harp on failures, right? So we need to be able to give people a space where it's okay to fail, right? So like when we're creating training content, you can take it as many times as you need to, as long as until you get it right. If you fail once, that's fine. Take it again. It's not going to count against you. We just need to be able to give people the space to like even like me as a manager, sometimes I was telling Kelli, I was like, sometimes I feel like we fail every day, right? But being able to like work with the managers and let them understand like this is the importance of the training content that they're taking. They may have to take it a couple times, that's okay. Even if they don't pass it, there are other remedies that we can provide for them. But we just need to make sure that they feel safe being able to say, hey, I don't understand. And then from like Kelly's standpoint, they're responsible for creating our knowledge base. And so like people need to be able to go to find that and be able to ask those questions and find the right people as well.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for your expertise in this space. This has been great. If you want to continue this conversation, we'll be moving to the Q&A space now. But thank you all so much for being here. You've been a great audience.
Yeah, thanks for coming at the end of the day, too. Like, this is way more people than what I was expecting. So we appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.